Hey guys, coldbrew here. Welcome back to another raid video. Ishiyama, the movable, is finally in the game. The Fusion Fragment collection has just started. The calendar is out and I'll go over the events and tournaments that will be going on for the next 2 weeks or so. If you're somebody who's interested in this champion, then you should watch this video. And if you are planning to actually complete it, you should watch the video, because if you miss something throughout the way, or if you're not counting correctly on how many fragments you're collecting throughout or missing throughout, then you won't be able to complete this and you won't be able to pick on the champion. So it's going to be basically wasted efforts. So better quit now or watch the video and get it done. So Ishiyama the removal, is he worth it or not? That's a different question to be answered when I actually test this guy out. I did have access to the test server. I want to give him a fair view before I actually give my honest opinion on him. Just on paper, he looks okay as a champion, but doesn't offer something out of the ordinary to say, okay, I'll put in all that effort that is needed to pick on the fragments. Okay. With that being said, let's have a look at the calendar and I'll explain every bit on the way on how this calendar is set out. Basically is the same way as we had in the past, but there's a few things that you want to take note of when looking at these calendars. If you're somebody who is fairly new to the game, you might be unfamiliar on how some of these tournaments and events work. So have that in mind. But the majority of the time, the fusions are basically the same. The fusions basically follow the same setup, the same way, in order to make things as basically as a routine for players out there. You know what it's up, you know what you have to do, but there's small things that if you do take note of, then you are able to take advantage and not waste any resources. So out of the total 130 fragments that are available, 20 are available through tournament leaderboards, meaning you have to get the top maybe 1 or top 2 positions on the leaderboards, which is very difficult. And especially this time, it's a champion training tournament and a champion chase tournament, which this one is all about your summons, the quality of the summoned champions that you do. And the champion training tournament, that's a lot of champion training that you gotta do in order to complete this. So this one and this one, I basically count out of my total calculations. In terms of just picking on the fragments for these are totally doable. But remember, the champions we all get through fusions also get a big value boost out of the blessings that we can potentially get a 5-star blessing. Plarium raid has gotten us used to getting these sort of events where you can pick on the 5-star soul for the champion that is featured after the fusion is over. So after May 19th or during this, maybe Monday or Tuesday, there's going to be new events starting for his soul, which we don't know what kind of events are going to be, but those give a proper value boost to the champion. For Ishiyama, he needs the extra health from the 1-star blessing. Okay, he needs the extra crit damage for the 4-star blessing, and the 5-star blessing gives him extra accuracy, which he doesn't really need. So it's all up to you guys if you want to do that when the time comes. Anyway, let's keep on going. I want to cover the first things first. Dragon Tournament, Champion Training. These basically start out on today, okay, Monday. But you don't really want to start doing these until Tuesday, unfortunately. So I'll give you guys the proper example of showing it in game, where if you go into the game events right now, you'll see that the champion training has started, but you don't want to do this because there is a dungeon divers that follows up in about 22 hours that you want to be completing then. What does that mean? This means that you can double dip in points. You can pick on points from the champion training event and the dungeon divers event at the same time while you're farming, let's say, for experience in the brutal campaign. You're doing that and you're also picking up on dungeon divers rewards. And the same thing goes for the dragon tournament that starts in about 58 minutes. Same thing. You want to pick on those fragments while also picking up points for the dungeon divers. So that's how it goes. That's what we call as double dipping in points. This is basically nothing new in terms of these fusions. So you're double dipping here, and then we follow up with a gear enhancement here. So gear enhancement is all about upgrading your gear, and we don't mean ascensions for the gear. And you need about 20 million silver in order to complete these. I've done multiple videos in the past covering on how you can do this effectively without spending too much silver. So not upgrading everything to 16. That is the more end game way to do it, where you don't have a lot of gear. For newer players out there, you have a lot of gear available. So a lot of gear at the 0 upgrade. Basically, you want to be basically very picky on how you upgrade your gear. You upgrade it to level 4, level 8, then you sell it in order to pick on a few points. It does take a lot more time, but if you're somebody who is struggling to have enough silver to complete these things, you want to be doing it at times where it's going to be beneficial for your account. Okay, so gear enhancement 1, gear enhancement 2, gear enhancement 3. So 3 total events. So you need about, throughout these following 2 weeks, about 60 million silver to complete this. You don't need to have it now, but if you're at a point where the gear enhancement event is ending and you don't have enough silver to finish it, you know you won't be able to finish it, you lose on the fragments, and then you'll have to do more summons, let's say, or go all out on the champion chase tournament and pick on the fragments there. So there's 110 fragments, meaning you can miss on 10 fragments. 10 fragments is what you can miss. Summoning Rush and Champion Chase Tournament, they give a total of 30 points. So what that means is you can pick on one of these two where you'll be collecting the fragments that you cannot miss. So 30 fragments can be lost. You can lose 20 here, so it means you can skip on the Champion Chase Tournament, that's 15, and then you can skip on another 5 from the Summoning Rush. Summoning Rush depends on the quality of summons you do. And if you got lots of sacred shards, for example, that is an easier way to complete the Summoning Rush. You shouldn't do it using ancient shards. You shouldn't do it basically using voids unless there's some kind of big weekend for a summon. Okay. Classic arena takedowns are very easy to complete, and these take the least amount out of your account. Very rarely I'll have to use a refresh to complete this. It all depends on your win to loss ratio when you're playing the game. Ice Golem tournament is basically Dragon, Ice Golem, Spider, and Fire Knight. These are basically do the dungeon when the time comes. And if there is a dungeon divers going on at the same time, you want to do the same thing as I called before, which is the double dipping in points. So you do the tournament while there's a dungeon divers going on. So dungeon divers, from what it looks like, it's not going to start on Saturday. I'm not sure about that. These are not always very clear. But if it does start on Saturday, then you can possibly double dip here with the Ice Golem tournament. Yeah, I think so. I think it does. Similarly to how the Dungeon Divers looks here. So this one starts tomorrow on Tuesday. So this one will start on Saturday. You'll have one day basically to do the Ice Golem tournament, do the Dungeon Divers. And throughout the Champion Training Tournament, which also starts on Sunday, you can also double dip there in terms of points. So you do Ice Golem, Dungeon Divers, Champion Training, Dungeon Divers 2, and then Spider Tournament you can also do because it starts on Monday, but I believe you would be able to complete Dungeon Divers before that, but it's fine. Dungeon Divers can be very difficult, and it's 5 fragments. So if you're gonna skip one of the Dungeon Divers, I would say you'll have to do Summoning Rush, 10 fragments, but that's very unlikely. It's gonna be 5 and 10 fragments available here. And the same thing goes for Championship Tournament. So it's going to be 5 and 10. So unlikely that you'll be able to collect 5, 5, and 5. So with that in mind, you can pick on 15 here and then 5 from here. So you miss out on 10. Or you go all out with summons. And that is basically the way that you complete this fusion. But again, fusions come and go with the game, guys. Fusions come and go. Some are easier than others. Some are more difficult than others. And some are way worth it. Way more worth it than others. I wouldn't call Ishiyama a way worth it fusion by no means. The champion has his uniqueness in the sense of the way that his kit works with unresistible debuffs if there's some debuffs going on, but the debuffs that he does apply are not the crucial debuffs that you would say you would need. He's a health based nuker. So we don't have that many in the game, but the ones we do have, they are void champions and they hit very hard. He does have a way to ignore defense, but again, it doesn't look like he is worth all the effort. I would say clearly, for me personally, this is going to be a skip, so I can accumulate resources again for the next fusion that will be coming June. Every single month we have a fusion, some sort of event. So it makes it very easy to basically decide on whether you're skipping or not if you are a more veteran player. So that's it, guys, for the fusion calendar. If you think I've missed something, leave it down in the comments to help out other players. I would highly appreciate that. Also, your subscribe and like for the video. Thank you guys all so much for supporting the channel. I'll see you guys the next one. See ya.